How's my hair, Scott? Yeah, great for the fans, right? I mean, seems like the Florida meet always comes down to a tenth and a half, no matter whether it's here or in Gainesville. I mean, that's a great team over there. We knew they would come in here and perform well. They always do, and I'm just proud of the team's fight tonight. We had 13 different gymnasts out there tonight, which I think is a big deal, even in the absence of some key people still that have not come back. I think we're utilizing our depth, and it's coming from different places, and that we learned a couple of lessons about that tonight. You know, the great thing was, you know, you need to go through some of these things where you have a fall and you see what happens next. And for Kaylin to make the mistake on bars, and then for Aleah and Connor to finish us out on bars the way they did, it didn't snowball. And, you know, we saw that again, you know, on balance beam. We had a great beam set going, and Aleah didn't have her best night. So it's got to come from everywhere, and I think that's the lesson that we learn. And if we continue to do what we're doing in preparation, and the lesson is everything matters. And if you'd have seen us yesterday in the inter squad, you would have wondered if we would do very well today. And so I was glad to see them fight through that. But we're getting to a point now where we just need to improve the way we're preparing a little bit, so that that can carry over into the competition a little more, and the execution just still needs to get dialed in a little bit better.
Take us through a review with the decision to let Haileigh do floor. Did you think if she looked good on beam, she was going to do it, or do you think she probably was? She wasn't on the list to start the.
Yeah, I kind of had hoped that you know, when we started the week, we knew we were going to test. I think when I talked to y'all Tuesday, we were testing her elbow that day, and it went really well. And so in my mind, if we didn't have any effects from her doing that and then doing floor again yesterday, if the elbow felt good and she didn't get any kind of pain, she said completely no symptoms, none whatsoever. She had no residual effects from it whatsoever. And so I knew then we wanted her to go. And then the question was going to be, did we get in here and did something change? You know, because you couldn't really go ahead and I didn't want to plant that seed in everybody's head right out of the gate, because you want them to be prepared to go. And sometimes you know, you're in that mix, 6 or 7 or 8, and you want the edge to stay on them a little bit. So I didn't want them to just assume that Haileigh was going. But early in the week, I felt like if her pain stayed away and there wasn't any, then she would go. So I don't think the final decision was made. I mean, we knew after the 15-minute warm-up she was going. It was just about, you know, who we rested and who we pulled out, because you really had really good choices across the board. Chase Brock's been doing a great job. Sierra's doing a great job. Liv's doing a great job. Liv's knee's bothering her a little bit, so we debated whether we pull her out. We pulled her out of the other 2 events just to let her focus on floor this time. Just at the end of the day, after the 15-minute warm-up, it was just kind of a gut decision. Mick and I talked about it. That's Courtney. I call her Mick. Sorry. We talked about it, and just went with our gut. I think, you know, certainly because Chase wasn't out there, it doesn't mean she warmed up gangbusters and is doing a great job, and will be back out there, I'm sure, because she's doing an amazing job.
Okay, and then as a coach, can you further comment on what caused Kaylin to back out of her bars routine and what she may have been feeling in the moment? And did you share any words of encouragement with her for her to keep going for the next 2 events?
Yeah. Well, first of all, she was sick. Yesterday, couldn't practice. Was sick. Had to get a shot to try to perk her up. Tried to go yesterday and couldn't do anything. And so, well, I wasn't even sure when we woke up this morning whether she would go at all. She came to the gym and said she felt good, almost normal, and wanted to make a go of it. And she's earned the right to do that, and I have to trust her. She's shown that she's a great competitor already, and so when she went over on the handstand, she had done that in warm-ups a couple of times, and I just told her, I said, look, I need you to hit the reset button, wire this set, because we may have to count it. If something happens behind you, your bar routine can still go 9-4, 9-5, if you do really well. I mean, I don't know if it can in this environment these days, but nonetheless, she needed to hit. And then at the end, when she landed the dismount, I said, it just takes 5. You're not gonna, you don't have to be perfect all the time. Just letting her know that the pressure's not on her to carry us all the time. As a freshman, I think she needs to understand that, and that it takes 5 out of 6. I mean, we certainly don't want to have falls. That's obvious, but I wanted her to be able to settle back down and get focused on balance beam, and just really tried to encourage her to do so, and she did. She did a great job.
So, Coach, it came down to your strongest competitors against theirs. What can you say about Aleah and Haileigh's finish at the end?
Well, I'm glad they're on our team. I mean, they, when you get to those back two, when they're there, it's similar. I used to call Kaya and Haileigh the Hammers, and Aleah has sort of moved into that 5 spot on floor, and but we got others too. Like there's really not a weak link on that event, and I mean, you think about this for a minute. Haileigh's back now, but if we get KJ back and we get Alona back, and we get Kalia. Kalia's very close to going on floor. Connor is beginning to tumble. I don't know a timetable on any of those things, because I know that I'm throwing this out there, and then the next thing y'all are going to want to know is how long till we see these people. So I don't really know, but my point is that there's not a weak link there. And so it's really, as much as Aleah and Haileigh get the press clippings, they are, and they're certainly deserving of that. Everybody in that floor lineup, it's a real strength of ours, and thank God, because we're using our depth right now. I mean, we're using some different people, and we're kind of walking a tightrope. That's why when somebody gets sick, Connor was also feeling a little bad yesterday, and it makes me nervous, because we're getting to a place where if somebody else, we don't start getting people back and quit having people go down, it can get a little interesting if we're not careful.
In light of all the injuries, what can we expect for the anticipation of the Oklahoma matchup? What can we expect as far as like lineups and things like that?
These are week-to-week things, and you'll hear me say this to the team a lot, and I apply it to the way I coach. 5 minutes in front of my face, and we will get to Oklahoma down the line. Right now, it's about I'll get an injury report tomorrow, just an update, not really an injury report, but just how everybody's feeling, so that we know what we can reasonably expect when we go into practice on Sunday, and then we get ready for Arkansas and a road test. There's not an easy meet in this conference anymore. I mean, there's just not. I mean, you can't really make a schedule where there's kind of an ebb and flow where you can rest people. So, right now it's just about focusing on this. I don't even know what weekend Oklahoma is, to be honest with you. So those lineup decisions will be made as we get a little closer, and we know who's available, because things can change a lot between now and then. Hopefully positively.
Kind of going back to Kaylin a little bit, just her fight to come back and nail her beam set. Just what did you think of her resilience in that moment?
She's a tremendous competitor, and I think it was almost, there's a silver lining to her going through that tonight. I think it's she puts a lot of pressure on herself, and sometimes as a freshman, you need to understand that this is 100% about what this team does, and she contributed to that on 3 events, and really handled her mistake well, hit the bar set after she did. So these are good lessons to learn, so long as it doesn't become a protracted thing. These are things that if you can learn them and you can understand the whole concept of what we're trying to do, then it takes a little of the pressure off. And it's not unique to Kaylin. I mean, she's a freshman, so it's the first time she's gone through it. But I mean, Scott, so appropriately pointed out the mistake that Haileigh made as a freshman, against Florida. And Aleah's had moments like that, and Kaya Johnson had moments like that. And Sarah Finnegan as a freshman was a roller coaster ride from time to time. And so it's easy to get caught up in all the greatness that you see from these kids later in their career and think that it's always been that way. And it's just not. And they all develop at their own pace, and every one of them has their own path that they take in their collegiate career, and no one is more or less important to the success of our team and our program. So I thought it was, as long as we got out with the W, I think it's good to have gone through that a little bit. There's some value there.
A bit of a silly question right here, Coach. Are you familiar with the phrase Mamba mentality?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it safe to say, Kobe Bryant, Haileigh Bryant got Mamba mentality?
You look her middle name up. It's Kobe.
Wait, they're serious?
No, I'm lying. To you, man. I got you, though. I got you. No, it's not. But no, she does have that. It's a little less intense than Kobe. Like, you don't want to walk around with that look on her face like Kobe did. But she does. I mean, I think a lot of them do. They have that mentality. Absolutely. I am very familiar with that mentality. Yeah.
Hey, Coach. With such an impressive win and people stepping up when their names are called, what are you most impressed with the identity of this team as this early into the season, as you guys look to build momentum moving forward?
Well, I think I mentioned it in the opening statement, and Mike pointed it out to me when he walked in. That, we used 13 different athletes out there tonight. There's not a lot of the other top teams that are able to do that right now. And we're not in a position where we have to put 4 or 5 all-arounders out there. We've got great skill in every discipline from a lot of people, and so it hopefully bodes well as we get healthier and things continue to move forward and the execution continues to improve. It creates a great environment in the gym because iron sharpens iron, and you want to be able to move things in and out, and we've had to by necessity. We'd like to be able to do it even as we get healthier and really not miss a beat, because rest is important, and fresh legs in April is going to be important. And so hopefully, as we get some people back, we get them in, we get some other people some rest, and we are able to mix some things up a little bit until we hit the back third of the season. We'll want to try to settle in on some lineups at that point.
We're gonna wrap. Okay. All right, and then you mentioned earlier that Olivia Dunn's knees were giving her some trouble recently, which prompted the decision to just keep her on the floor tonight. Is that something that fans should be worried about for the upcoming meet?
No, it was just precautionary. It's just irritated. She does a lot of Liv's leaps. She's hyper flexible, and she does a ring in a lot of things. And so when your kneecap, her kneecap just kind of tracks a little funny when she's doing a turning leap with the ring, and it's gotten a little irritated on the bottom of the kneecap. We've had it looked at. There's really nothing structurally there. It's just uncomfortable for her, and so what we're just trying to do is get it calmed down. So she did 3 events last week. She did 1 event tonight, and again, that goes back to the ability to put some other people out there. Kylie Cohen got an opportunity to compete for the first time on balance beam, and did really well. And then Jeff was back in on bars tonight, and for her first routine of the season, and got a 9.9. So again, it's the flexibility that we still have a little bit of that is helping us out. Liv's just so dependable on floor. We just really didn't want to take her out of there. We probably, could have, just to rest her and try to get that thing to calm down a little bit. But it's not anything that we think is some sort of long-term deal. Thank y'all.